Welcome to a new episode of the Sustainable Living Podcast. Today, we're diving into one of the most important and fast-moving topics shaping our future, artificial intelligence and sustainability. I'm joined by Jeanette Nilsson, AI ecosystem expert at the Research Institutes of Sweden, or RISE. Jeanette is leading efforts to position Sweden as a European leader in applied AI, working across sectors to build ethical and inclusive innovation ecosystems. Jeanette, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the Sustainable Living Podcast.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Let's start with a bit of context. Could you briefly introduce the Research Institutes of Sweden and its role in shaping innovation and sustainability, of course, both nationally and across Europe?
Yes, RISE is the National Institute in Sweden, and we merge a lot of different kind of domain institute some years ago because we wanted to be a really big player and being able to tackle all of the kind of future obstacles and future kind of needs that we will have in the society. And so the state bought back some of the institute. So now we are the fourth biggest institute in Europe. And we are covering all of the geographical area of Sweden. And I live in the very north of Sweden. We are working in all domains. And we are working with applied science and research. So we work a lot with industry and SMEs. And we are also working a lot with artificial intelligence. We have both a center of people that are kind of connected, not that everyone is working at the same place, but we think that everyone should learn this new instrument and see how we can work with it within RISE, but also with all of our customers from both the public sector and also from business. And since we are the National Research Institute, we also work a lot with the government. So in the research bill, they give us also some different assignments. And one of them is to coordinate and to lead efforts in Sweden so that we will really be able to use all the skills that we have, but also to enhance the industry and also to share our experience with others in Europe so we can grow together.
So, as you mentioned, you're helping lead efforts to position Sweden at the forefront of AI in Europe. So, in your view, what are the key factors that enable Sweden's strong position in applied AI for a societal development?
I think it's the long history of technical development. I mean, Sweden is a big country, but we are not so many people living in Sweden. And we have a lot of natural resources. And since we have resources, long distance, we have to use technology to be able to use all of these resources because we don't have people enough. And we need to travel a long distance. So Sweden has a history of innovation and also a lot of engineering. So in every way, and people in Sweden are very interested in using new tools like social media and chatbots and so on. So we are really early adopters of different technologies. And when AI became, we have been talking about AI for 50 years, but when it was really easy to start using AI, then a lot of people were much more interested. And so that's why we have also, since we are not so many people, we have to work together. So we have a long history of working together, industry, public sector, and government. So I think that is one of the bases that we are actually have the possibility to work and do things and share and as inspired to be a leader.
RISE works extensively on AI for sustainability. Could you share a few practical examples where AI has helped solve real-world sustainability challenges, whether in Europe or in Sweden so far?
Yes, I think most people, most companies, most researchers that are working with, they are in the kind of developing, exploring phase. But the ones that are a bit ahead and are really doing things, they are using AI algorithms with the data they have, mostly to optimize things. For example, if you are a farmer and you want to use the water that you have responsibly, then you can also use weather data and other data to maximize and optimize when you will water your plants. Or also with drones, we use a lot of drones to both in forestry to see if there are damages made by insects, so that you have to do something before they spread, or also to kind of categorize different topics, bio topics, to see different tasks, what you have to do with different timbers. And I think the one that people mostly know most about is in healthcare, when we are helping doctors using image recognition, screening for cancer, or doing other to see early kind of diseases in an early phase when we have more data to compare with. But it is also a difficult thing, even though maybe it's the most important for many people, but it also is in a private sphere and use data that is really highly valuable, and also you need to have a lot of security around it, and it's not so easy to share all this privacy data. But a lot in maintenance, I would say, in industry, and in public sector, it's starting to use to see how can we make administration more easier, and also not to have to double check, and not to have to kind of do everything again because the system won't talk to each other. So that is one thing that we see is making a lot of progress.
You're also involved in shaping the AI policy landscape in Europe. From your perspective, what are the biggest opportunities and risks in the current regulation frameworks, especially in the EU AI Act coming into force?
I think the most important thing is now that it's such a fast-moving target to trying to regulate. I mean, legislation is always slow, and that's also because we want to be sure that we protect things that we want to protect. The new situation now is that digital information data is easy to move. It is easy to collect. I mean, people can collect your data without asking you, and they can use your data to things that you would never agree to. And that is why it's so important to have I think, a global agreement. I don't know if we can have laws, but we must have some kind of global common use. And the AI Act in Europe, I think, it will be now people think it's bad because it makes us slower. It makes us, but I think when we can protect the things that we value in Europe, people's privacy, and to use the information that people have, or industry, or for climate responsibly, then people can trust the information, they can trust the tool. And if you don't have trust, then the tools are useless. So I'm thinking that one of the biggest things now is to talk a lot about the possibilities, and one of the most kind of problematic things that I'm seeing is that a lot of people that are not technicians, they think that, okay, someone else will fix this, and it will be non-biased, and it will be fair, and it will be doing all of the good things that we think. But I'm thinking that the most important thing now is to talk, what society do we want? How do we want this tool to help us to reach that? Instead of seeing, oh, this is a new tool, where can I use it? And I think also I would hope the people would talk less about the efficiency and the possibility to replace people and use machines or algorithms, instead of saying this is how we will empower people and empower processes with this new tool. Because if I'm afraid of losing my job, then I'm not so interested in participating. And if people don't participate and share their experience, then the data will be much less, and the results and the algorithms and the AI models, they will be based on maybe not the right data and not what people really want. So I'm thinking that the AI Act makes us, it forces us to think about these things, and I think that's good. And I think that this should also kind of spread globally, and that we should have some kind of, I don't know, what code of conduct rules or something else, so that people can't just go into another country and use their data and put out models that maybe seek out people with weakness and use that. So I really hope that we have a global kind of commitments.
You work across sectors, in industry, in government, in academia, and civil society. And I imagine this is not always easy. What have you learned about building a successful and inclusive AI ecosystem?
I think the most important lesson is that to start to listen what people really need, and trying to focus on what are the common goals that we want to achieve. Because sometimes you sub-optimize things if you are only looking in your own sector or your own domain. And that is why it's so important to also see what is the future that we are aiming for. How can we do that together? And also to respect each other and understand that we have different roles. And I'm thinking just talking about different roles is really good, because it's easy to think that everyone wants to do large language models, and that is the kind of highest evaluated work. But maybe if you can show this is the kind of whole change chain of change that you need to do. You see, my role is this in this part of this stair or chain or whatever you will call it, to see that it is a process, and we have all an important part, and we have to help each other. Because if we, for example, don't give input to the people that work with models, then they will do models that won't fit us. And so I think it's a mutual respect is really important, and also to see that we have different roles, and to not be in conflict, and instead of seeing we are focusing on that.
One of the big concerns globally about AI is that it may deepen existing inequality if it's not guided responsibly. From the RISE perspective, how can AI be used as a force for more inclusive and socially sustainable development, especially as we face the challenges of the green transition?
Yeah, I think if we focus only on if it's globally, then it's another thing also, but because I think that is so important, because now we are wasting a lot of resources. We are producing too much. We are even throwing away food. So I'm thinking and also that the problem, as I said, the gap between user and being used. I mean, if you are not participating in how the change will develop, how the models will be also kind of the algorithms being used, how transparent they will be, if you are not part of all of this, then you will be a product. If someone will just use your data and also maybe disinform you and so on. So if you don't understand this, and you don't understand that what I'm doing, for example, may be damaging climate in the Amazon. I think it's important also to see that, I mean, the earth is stone. And I mean, dinosaurs lived here and they don't live here anymore. If we want people to be able to live on this stone or the earth, then we must also see how can we work together because of the climate change. Because if we are not careful, I mean, the earth will always be here. But people, if we can't see that we have clean water, air, and that we use resources smart and not the wasteful doing as we do today, I think that is bad. So I'm thinking the good things to do with AI is to educate people. And I think that everyone has a responsibility also to educate themselves, to understand, okay, this tool that says to me that if I asked a chatbot something, I understand what it makes to the nature instead of just learning myself or asking a friend. So I think it's really important to understand and also to see that to be able to say that if I have a disability, I would like to have an AI tool that will help me. Or if I'm elderly, I need to have an AI company that will make my dementia easier because it will not get tired of me asking the same time. So I'm thinking if we don't see the needs for people to have a good life, then it will be both bad for the climate, but also widen the gap and inequality.
Looking toward the future, what skills or mindsets do you think are the most important for the next generation of professionals?
I think the absolute most important skill will be to talk with people, because I'm thinking this is not something that we can see that the young people sometime tends to think it's easier to integrate with the avatars. And I mean, the most difficult thing as also in cooperation is to how can I interact with people and understand and listen and see how we can go forward. So I'm thinking that to be able to work with together with and understand people, that will be one super important thing. Because if you only listen to chatbots advice, then it will be someone else who tells you what to do. And then, of course, being flexible to learn new things. I think to also understand, we have been talking about lifelong learning for decades, and I think we are in that now. If you are always interested and flexible and understand, okay, this is the new things, and also thinking of both learning this in every domain to see what kind of tools do I have and what can I do, and also then use the time that maybe you can have an AI tool to work for you to do the things that an AI never can do, like interacting with people. So I'm thinking that the people skills, personal, that will be one of the biggest, of course. And because technology is in one way much easier to learn than how to interact with people and how to respect different people and different cultures.
And finally, what is your vision for the role of AI that will play in building a more sustainable future globally? And what gives you hope as we move forward?
I hope that the role of AI will be to empower people all over the globe, and also that it will be that we will have agreements on optimizing the use of resources, that we also can monitoring different use so we don't waste both products, and that we don't put in waste in the oceans and so on. So we can actually see that all the values that we want to have globally, that we can share together. And I really think that this is possible, and also that people get really engaged in saving because of future generations, that we want them to be on Earth. And I think the most important thing also for the future is, and I'm hoping also that women will have a much stronger voice in this. And I think it's important for women and for girls to be more active and in developing both on the demand side, but also developing to see what things do we want, because it's globally that is a really, really big issue and inequality. And the hope that I'm feeling is that it's young people are interested, and I hope that since young people are interested and they are often much more skilled, that we are more older people learn, and then we can work together. So I think that is I hope for that a lot in the future. I feel confident that we will manage to do this, and by working together.
Jeanette Nilsson, thank you so much for this interesting conversation, and I have to be honest, you've given us a lot to reflect on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to participate.